Hello and welcome to Level 5 Staff Sergeant. So this level is going to be dealing with the distributive property and combining like terms. Our objectives/goals for this level are going to be 1. Using the distributive property to solve equations, and 2. Combining like terms to solve equations. Again, make sure that you're writing these down on your goal sheet. So next, we're going to talk about some vocabulary, the distributive property, which is meaning that you're going to multiply each adenine of a sum separately and then add the products together. And then an adenine is a number that is added to another number. So basically, in a parentheses, x plus 4. As you can see, both of these you will not have to write down. There are no stars next to them. So let's move on to the next slide. Alrighty, so on this slide we're going to be talking about the procedure on how to solve equations dealing with the distributive property. Alright, so number 1, you're going to simplify each side of the equation using the distributive property. So if we had five times the sum of x plus 2 equals, let's just say, 20. We would multiply each piece in the parentheses by 5. So you get 5x plus 10 equals 20. So that would be step 1. Step 2, you're going to combine all like terms and keep variables on one side of the equation and move all the other terms without variables to the other side of the equation using addition and subtraction. Again, adding the opposite. So the things that are, so we're going to combine, we only have 5x plus 10 equals 20. So nothing that we really are going to need to combine. So then from here, since we already have 5x on the left-hand side, I say let's just keep the variable there, and we're going to move the 10 to the other side. So to do that, we're going to have to add the opposite. So we're going to add a negative 10 to both sides. Then we're going to end up with 5x equals 10. Now, if we go down, the next step is eliminate what is attached to the variable by performing the opposite operation, so multiplication or division. So in this step, we have division because we're already multiplying the 5 times the x. So I'll bring it down here. So we have 5x equals 10. We'll divide both sides by 5. That'll give us x equals 2. And if we go down to step 4, it says that when your variable is by itself on one side of the equation, you are finished. You need to make sure, again, that your variable is positive and your answer is written in the lowest terms. And as we can see, x equals 2 is as simple and positive as we're going to get it. So the last thing is to check your answer. So we ended up with x equals 2. What we're going to do is plug that right back into the equation. So our original equation was 5 times x plus 2 equals 20. So we'll put 5 and then 2 plus 2 equals 20. And again, remember, there's like a imaginary question mark above there because we're trying to make sure that they are equal. And if we are following order of operations, the next thing that we're going to need to do is to simplify what's in the parentheses. So 2 plus 2 is 4. And 5 times 4 is 20. And 20 does equal 20. Alrighty, so now we're going to look at a little example. This first example, it says to solve. So the equation that we have is 4 times 2w plus 8 minus 5w equals 14. So if we're following the procedure, the first thing that we need to do is do the distributive property and distribute that 4 to both the 2w and the 8. When we do that, we're going to end up with 8w plus 32, and then we're just going to remember to make sure we just bring down what we had before so we don't lose it. Minus 5w equals 14. Now from here, remember we need to combine the like terms. So when we do that, we're going to subtract. So we have 8w minus 5w, which will give us 3w. And then again, bring it down. Plus 32 equals 14. From here, we are going to move what is not attached to the variable to the other side. So in order to do that, we're going to subtract 32 from both sides. When we do that, we'll be left with 3w on the left and negative 18 on the right. So step 4 tells us that we need to divide or get rid of whatever is attached to the variable. How we're going to do that is we're going to divide by 3 on both sides. So once we divide by 3 on both sides, we're going to be left with w on the left and negative 18 divided by 3. And negative 18 divided by 3 is negative 6. So again, in order to check to make sure that we are correct, we're going to just plug it right back in. So we have our original equation, 4 times 2 times negative 6 plus 8 minus 5w, or 5 times negative 6 equals 14. So we're just going to work our way doing order of operations. So bring that down. 2 times negative 6 is negative 12 plus 8 minus, and then we have 5 times 6, and that's going to give us a negative 30. And remember, we're sitting here with a question mark wondering if that is going to be equal. Next, we're going to make sure we continue to simplify our parentheses. So negative 12 plus 8 gives us a negative 4 minus a negative 30. So then, remember, we have to go from left to right, so we're going to multiply. So we're going to get 4 times negative 4, which will give us negative 16, minus a negative 30. And remember, when you're subtracting a negative, it means that you're adding. So negative 16 plus 30 does indeed give us 14, and 14 equals 14. Alrighty. So we have another little example here. We're actually going to do this one in class, or you can try it on your own. If you look at it, you'll see that you're able to work on setting up the different steps and making sure that you understand the full procedure on how this works. So go ahead, take a minute, figure it out, and then go ahead, press play again, and we'll see if you got it the right answer. All right, go ahead and check to see if you got it right. The answer should come down to t equals negative 7. All right, this is our final G question. It says Tanya solved the following problem using the distributive property. Explain where she went wrong and how to fix her work. So go ahead, take a minute and do that. Please make sure that you write this down because remember, final G questions are on those goal sheets. So make sure you're writing this down for level 5. These are our worksheet examples. We're going to go through these in class. And then these are the activities that you have for your options for level 5. So you can either do the tic-tac-toe or the puzzle activity.